Welcome to the Simple Sophisticate podcast, where intelligent living is paired with signature style. I'm your host, Shannon Ables. And whether you're listening on your commute, exercising, working in the garden, or sitting down with a hot cup of tea or a cafe au lait, thank you for tuning in. Let's get started. Welcome to the 180th episode of the Simple Sophisticate. Today we're going to talk about how to be a savvy shopper when it comes to your wardrobe. We're going to talk about the year of quality, which we kicked off in January, and October's theme is just that, smart wardrobe shopping. But before I get to those 10 tips, this week's petit plaisir is a simple dinner idea that was inspired by my recent trip, which garnered some fresh seafood. So you won't want to miss this recipe. It's an easy make in the middle of your week when you're tired, but you want something delicious and filling that's not too heavy. And it's all ready in the matter of 15 to 20 minutes. So stay tuned. All right, let's get to today's topic. We're talking 10 tips for smart wardrobe shopping. Now, at the beginning of the year in 2017, I dedicated each month to be a year of quality, focusing on a particular theme or area of our lives in which we can amp up the quality. Now, for example, in January, we focused on reducing or eliminating entirely one food or food type that doesn't serve us well. And I shared my experience of that, how I did that, and the results. February was letting go of a social media app that wasn't serving us well, that would help us, enable us, I guess I should say, build relationships, stronger relationships, less superficial or surface relationships. March, we let go of the busy mentality. April, we reduced mindless eating. And May, we mastered the use of credit card. Now, you may be wondering, where have you been since May, Shannon? Well, projects and life and summer and dreams and ideas and writing a book did put me at a pause on this project, but I haven't stopped entirely. Before the end of this year, I will make sure I get back to June and July and August and September and hit those topics so that you do have a month-by-month guide. But I want to jump to where I should have been with October, and that is exactly what we're talking about, becoming a smarter shopper when it comes to clothing. So let's dive into these 10 tips. Number 1 is clarify your capsule wardrobe. What is it? And make a list. The reason you want this list is that so it's always with you, whether you're traveling, whether it's February, whether it's the summer and you're on vacation and you see this beautiful white blouse and you're thinking, do I need a white blouse? Number 1. Number 2, oh, I do? Oh, that price tag is a little too high, but I need one. Cost per wear. Is it well made? So make sure you're clear about what your capsule wardrobe is. And we've dove into this topic a handful of times on this podcast, as well as in a variety of posts. And I will share with you a link on today's show notes, thesimplyluxuriouslife.com/podcast 180. where I'll break it down for you how to do it on a budget, because it's something that takes time. And I'll actually show you my spring and summer and fall and winter. And as well, I will show you a video this past August. I actually brought my fall wardrobe onto KATU's AM Northwest and walked viewers through it. So I'll show that video as well on the show notes. So number 1 is clarify your capsule wardrobe. Make that list. Keep it with you at all times. I have mine on my iPhone, on the list app, as well as written out in my planner. And it's something that just reminds me, oh, that's right, I am looking for a blazer. Oh, that's right, I'm in need of brand new nude pumps because mine are 5 years old and I want to get a different height or something along those lines. That's number 1. Number 2, this has been so valuable for me. Use the online tools that are available. If you're someone who shops online, even if you shop online just a little bit, use the ability to save money and also know when what you want goes on sale. I have 5 bookmarks, booklets, whatever they're calling them, buttons, all sorts of these different things have different names. But I have a link to 5 of them, 3 of which I use regularly, and the other 2 are very similar to what the previous 3 that I'll mention do. So the first one is Shop Tagger. I love this because I'll be on any site, just about any shopping site you can find, and I'll find an item. But I'm not ready to pay that price yet, or I'm not ready to purchase that item, but I know I like it. So what I do is I click the Shop Tagger button. I tell it what price that I would definitely want to be alerted by email. When it drops to that, make sure my size is listed and it's saved. And when that item drops to that price or drops any price at all, there's that option as well. It sends me an email and says, your da 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 is available. You have a link directly to that site to see if you still want it. Ebates is also one that I regularly remind readers to use because it saves on the back end. You may have to pay that price up front, but you then get 3%, sometimes 6%, sometimes even 10%. That's rare, but sometimes even 10%. I got that recently. But you start at that website, Ebates, and I provide a link exactly to that, and you can actually get a button for your browser so you don't have to go to the website each time. And it calculates and pays out monthly once you start earning some money. Honey is another one. This one is similar to Shop Tagger. It is a one that I've used in the past. I'll again provide a link to that. Now, if you shop a lot on Amazon, whether it's the US version, the UK, the Australia, the Canadian, any of them, you're going to want to get the button Camel, 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 and they call it the Camelizer. But what it does is it compares prices of particular items that Amazon offers across all its sites. So you simply click on the camel. It literally is that icon of a camel that will show up in your browser or in the menu bar, the toolbar, I should say, once you download it, and it will compare prices for you. The last one is only available on your Chrome browser, so you can still, anyone can download Chrome, whether you use Safari or Firefox otherwise. But this one only is available on Chrome, and all these are free, but it does basically exactly what Shop Tagger does. So if you want to try out and maybe compare which one you prefer, Slice Watch or Shop Tagger, it alerts you to sales on different items and coupons, things like that. That's one to check out. So use these tools because what you're doing is saying, I like this item. I would pay full price if I have to, but if I don't, that's even better. Because the key is you would pay full price for it, but maybe you just can't afford it. Or maybe you want to see, hey, I don't need it right now. And if it becomes available, I would love to have it, but at a better price. So definitely use one or all of these buttons, and I'll provide a link to each one on the show notes. Number 3, stick to classic, flattering silhouettes. This sounds simple, but it's easy to be distracted when we see a beautiful dress on a woman who that dress is made for. So keep that in mind when you do see it online or in a shop and they have a model using that dress or that skirt or that sweater, and stick to the silhouettes that work for you. If you're someone who has a preference for pencil skirts like myself, then A-line skirts have never been my thing, so they look great on other people. And I just simply appreciate them, but don't buy them. So know your silhouette, know what looks best on your body, and that is a classic silhouette. There are always trends, as we know. And some trends turn into classics or simply are re-envisioned classics. And those are actually the best ones to go ahead and buy. The re-envisioned classics, they take, say, leopard, or they take the classic white button-up shirt, and they just change maybe the neckline or the sleeve length or something. But if it's a super trendy approach to a silhouette, you might not want to buy it for yourself if you want it to be something you're going to wear year after year. If you don't mind just wearing it for 1 year and being on trend, that's absolutely fine. So that's number 3. 4, have the necessary shoes for each season. This will take time because, as I'll get to in a later point, you want to invest in your shoes. You want quality shoes that will last, that will always look good, and that you can often repair so you don't have to go out and buy a new pair every 5, 6, 7 years whenever they wear out. You can simply resole them or reheel them, as I've done many times. But the key is to make sure you have your summer sandals, your winter boots or booties, and everything in between that you need for where you live. I just recently finished part of my shoe wardrobe by investigating and purchasing two booties that I definitely needed. I have my knee-high boots, I have my flats, I have my heels and my pumps, but the one thing that was missing were my low-heeled booties. And I'm actually going to do a post on that later this week. So be sure to stop by the blog about some of the different brands I found and what I loved about them. And I'll shop them for you. But that's something to keep on. While it's not clothing, it still finishes the outfit. And so keep a list of what shoes you missed one particular season. You're like, oh, I wish I would have had. So when that season begins, you can have your eyes peeled. You can start saving up for them in the previous season, be ready to pounce on a quality pair of whatever shoes you need. That's number 4. Have the necessary shoes for each season. Number 5, stick to a complementary, versatile color palette. This is crucial for being able to have a capsule wardrobe that is versatile, so different things mix and match. And as we say in the 15 wardrobe, a capsule wardrobe, make sure each item in that 15 list, remember, we're not talking about undergarments, we're not talking about outerwear, we're not talking about shoes or handbags or accessories, we're just talking about the pants, the tops, the dresses, those kind of things. Make sure they compare with at least 2 items in your wardrobe. The way you do that is by sticking to a hue that works best with your skin tone. Now, that's with sticking with the neutrals, so your whites, your beiges, your grays, your blacks. Navy is definitely a neutral hue. And then if there's one color that really works well with you that's a little bit brighter, add that, but keep it consistent so that you have a couple different ones that you can play with without wearing the same shirt or skirt twice. Maybe it's a print instead of a solid. So you have a print particular red shirt or blouse, and then you have one that is a solid red. So your bottoms will always look good with that particular color. Just keep that in mind, even though you may be entranced by that turquoise top. If there's only one item that would look great with it, then maybe just appreciate it from afar. But if it's something that is your color that makes you look amazing, go for it. Absolutely. So that is number 5. Stick to a complementary, versatile color palette. All right, I'm going to take a quick moment to introduce you to the sponsor of today's episode. So many of us enjoy essential oils, but the prices are sometimes not what we want to pay. Today, I'd like to introduce you to Simply Earth. Ditch the chemicals, have fun, and save on your wallet with Simply Earth's Essential Oil Recipe Box. Each box comes with 6 recipes and everything you need to make them. 4 to 5 full-size essential oil bottles, 100% pure goodness, all for $39. And because you're a listener of the Simple Sophisticate, you have an exclusive coupon code. And that is SIMPLE, SIMPLE. It's that simple. Simple to get a $40 gift card emailed to you after you subscribe to this fun essential oil recipe box. That is from Simply Earth. Visit simplyearth.com. Simply Earth. All right, welcome back. Let's get back to the remaining 5 tips for smart wardrobe shopping. Number 6 is really the concept that we keep talking about throughout the past 7 years here on the Simply Luxurious Life blog, and since this podcast has been going on, last 3.5 years. It's invest. Pay for quality, but then you won't have to pay as often, so it's cost per wear. And this is something that takes time. You may not be buying a lot of items each year. That's okay, because you're buying quality that will last, so you don't have to buy every year. Know what you want. Be very clear. That's what we talked about in number 1. But then don't feel bad about buying a quality item. So long as your budget can afford it and you know it's going to work with at least 2 items in your wardrobe, that is definitely something to invest in. So you don't have to be shopping all the time, and that cost per wear makes that price tag make sense. So that's number 6. Pay for quality, but pay less often. Number 7 is choose quality fabric. Now, when I was younger, I'd walk by any kind of clothing store, and the way they merchandise the clothing, it makes the clothing and the outfit look spectacular. But the key is it going to continue to look spectacular after each wear, after each wash, after a year in your closet? Always check that tag. Don't be afraid of dry cleaning. I know some people are. I wear tons of silk, as I talked about last Wednesday on why not wear a silk blouse. Definitely an essential item. It's something that I wear all the time. But take care. Wear them to work. Wear them where you're supposed to be wearing them in your particular lifestyle. And when you get home, change out of them to take care of them, or wear an apron in the kitchen, whatever you need to do. But don't be afraid of taking them to the dry cleaners. If it's something that is made well, it will last. Now, quality linen, quality cotton, okay? Any of these items that are well made, cashmere, quality wool sweater that is from a company that has used quality products from reputable distributors. That's what you want to invest in, because those are the items that not only will they look good on the rack the first time you see them and when you wear them the first time, but they will look good for years and wears to come. Number 8, understand the sale season and be patient. We know that the spring clothing items begin hitting shelves in February, late February, and then March and April. And the sales for spring hit in about May, beginning of June. All right. In fall, just flip it 6 months ahead for the most part. Now, there's always websites that allow you to buy the items 6 months ahead of time, as we know with Moda Operandi, for example. But even if you really want an item, if you don't need it, and you're willing to take the risk that it may not be available, just know when the sale season is for that shop, for that online business. If it's a local boutique, ask them about the sales. They want your business. If you can't afford it, you can't afford it. So just simply ask them, when will your holiday season begin? When can I get on your mailing list? Anything at all, just ask questions. Now, this is where those bookmarklets that we talked about in point number 2 come in handy, because as soon as those prices drop, even before sometimes they even update their website and send a newsletter out to their readers, you're going to get an email in your box saying that price has just dropped. So that's one of the best ways to do it without having to go ask anybody, is simply get those alerts on those products. So that's number 8. Understand the sale season and be patient. And also you can stop by the Simply Luxurious Life, because whenever Net-a-Porter goes on sale, for example, in December and then in July, I'm scouring those sales and bringing to you some of my favorite picks. So be sure to stop by the Simply Luxurious Life as well for those sale updates. All right. Now, number 9 is simply spruce up the classic essentials as needed. So you have your favorite pair of denim jeans. How are they wearing? Should you be on the lookout for a similar pair, maybe the exact same pair, but it's been 4 or 5 years and you need to update? Just be aware of when those quality items in your wardrobe, they've met the end of their life. Now, this doesn't happen very often because they do last for many years. I'm wearing jeans that are 4 or 5 years old in my closet. So it's not something that's going to happen regularly. But since you only have 15 items each season, you know when things are looking not as wonderful as they're supposed to. So notice that at the very beginning of that stage, and just keep an eye out. Shop those quality brands that you trust and start saving up your money. So that's number 9. Spruce up the classic essentials as needed. And last but not least, number 10. Invest in handbags, shoes, eyewear, lingerie, and outerwear. This will take time. This is not something that happens all at once, because that would be a heck of a bill to pay. And it wouldn't fit in our budgets. It wouldn't fit in mine. Not even close. I just last year finally purchased my final winter wardrobe wool coat that I love, that I've been wanting for years. It was from Theory. It went on sale and I could afford the price. But I knew exactly what I wanted. And so when it came on sale, I pounced. Same thing with shoes. And if you are someone who wears glasses, quality glasses, lingerie obviously as well, to make your skin and body feel good when you're wearing it, but also make the clothes you wear on top of it hang exactly as you want them to. So number 10 is invest in handbags, shoes, eyewear, lingerie, and outerwear. This entire process is not something that happens in 1 year or 1 season. It is a long process. Yes, you are changing and evolving, but these items, they cost money. And you also need to know what you really want, so you buy well. So be patient with yourself. My capsule wardrobe, as is everyone's, is still evolving, but it sure does feel like it has really come together in the last few years, because I know my lifestyle, and I also know how to shop better with each year, and I try to share that knowledge with you. So if you'd like to check out the show notes, there's a bunch of links I'm going to share with regards to capsule wardrobe building and those bookmarklets for online shopping. Visit the simplyluxuriouslife.com/podcast 180. And I'll be right back with this week's Petit Plaisir. So this week's Petit Plaisir is a recipe: pan-fried Oregon sea scallops with lemon butter and caper sauce. It sounds complicated. It is so simple, and you'll have it ready to eat and drink with a nice glass of Chardonnay or whatever wine you prefer or drink you prefer in about 15 to 20 minutes. So the first thing you're going to want to do is sear those scallops. But the trick with sea scallops, with any scallops really, is you want to dry them off before you put them in a pan that has a little bit of olive oil in it. Why? This is going to enable that crispy crust, that brown crispy crust that you want, or that edge on that scallop. Because you don't want them to steam. You don't want that water in the pan. All right, so that's over medium-high heat, and you only have to sear it for about 2 to 3 minutes on each side. Now, as soon as they're done, you can remove them from the pan. They should be a rich golden brown, but don't get rid of that pan sauce. You just want to set it aside for a second because that's where we're going to make the sauce for this pasta dish. It's fantastic, and it sounds so fancy, but it is so easy. It's one of the new ones that I've enjoyed, and I'm getting different ideas from different recipes that I follow as well. Now, before I forget, the seasoning, how do you season these scallops? The first thing you're going to do is before you put them in the pan, you're going to want to sprinkle them with a little bit of salt, both sides. And then when you take them off the heat, they've cooked, they're done on both sides, they're on a little dish to the side of your oven or your oven top. You're going to sprinkle a little bit of freshly ground pepper on it. Let it sit. And then you're going to bring a pot of salted water for the pasta to boil. While you're waiting for that to come to a boil, you're going to make the lemon butter and caper sauce, which does have a little bit of wine in it. It's fantastic. Make sure you pick a wine that you love to drink because that same flavor is going to be in your sauce. So it's the pan that you just cooked your scallops in is where you're going to make your sauce, and you want to turn the heat to medium. And you're going to add a tablespoon of butter or a little bit more. That's okay. And 1 clove of garlic that you have chopped up. Then you're going to stir that garlic for just about a minute. No longer. You don't want to burn it, but you want it to be fragrant. So lightly brown, not actually entirely brown. Then you're going to increase the heat just a little bit, and you're going to add a 1/2 cup of white wine. Now, what you're doing is bringing even more flavor in. That alcohol is going to cook off. So you're going to wait until about half of that wine is gone. So you put a 1/2 cup in, wait until there's only about a 1/4 cup left. And then you're going to add a little bit of chicken broth, a little bit of lemon juice from 1 lemon. I don't like to add a ton of chicken broth, but I would just add it to taste. In fact, if you don't want to add that flavor of chicken, don't add it at all. This is one of those things that's optional, especially for me. I don't usually add it that often unless I just want a little bit of that flavor, because I also do this when I make shrimp pasta. But add maybe a 1/4 to a 1/2 cup of chicken broth, add the lemon juice from 1 lemon, and then add the capers. And you're going to want to add about 2 tablespoons of capers, rinsed, not with their juice. So you want to get them out of that jar and rinse them off and then add them. Then what you'll do is just simply cook your sauce until it reduces by half. So you're cooking it for about 8 to 10 minutes. Then after those 8 to 10 minutes, turn off the heat, add the butter. Keep it on the burner so the heat is still there. Season as you would like with a little bit of salt and pepper, and then just kind of leave it there because the angel hair pasta is going to cook so quickly. Add the angel hair pasta to the boiling water. I choose whole wheat angel hair pasta. It's up to you what kind you want. You just want to cook it till al dente, not till it is so limp that it just goes everywhere. I would even cook it, to be safe, less than what the package calls for, because as soon as you take it out and put it in that sauce is also going to soften it up a little bit as well. So I would just cook it about 2 to 3 minutes. Again, test it. But if it's al dente for sure, maybe a little bit more, just a smidge, put it into the sauce as you would do. and let it stay in that residual heat, and it will soften those noodles a little bit more. Then you're going to chop up about 2 tablespoons of flat leaf parsley. You're going to add that to the sauce with the pasta. You're going to add grape tomatoes sliced in quarters or halves, however you prefer, and you're going to toss this whole thing gently. Now, put the pasta into your serving dishes and then place 2 to 3 scallops on top of each of the pasta dishes. And then sprinkle with a little bit of Parmesan cheese and enjoy with a glass of wine. If you want to finish it with some dessert, I have a fantastic rustic apple tart that is perfect for this season and so easy to make. I'll include a recipe link to that on today's show notes as well. So that is pan-fried Oregon sea scallops with lemon butter and caper sauce. I hope you've enjoyed this week's Petit Plaisir, where each week ideas are shared to make the everyday all the more enjoyable. Tune in at the end of each Monday's podcast where I'll recommend a book, a film, or a recipe. Anything that is a simple pleasure to satiate your sophisticated taste. And for that recipe, just visit the show notes, thesimplyluxuriouslife.com/podcast 180. Now, before I wrap up today, I just want to remind you of the special guest we have coming on Monday, November 6th, especially since we were just talking about food. World-renowned food blogger and cookbook author who used to be the pastry chef at Chez Panisse, Alice Waters' well-known and highly revered restaurant in Berkeley, California, David Leibovitz, is going to be stopping by talking about his new book. So mark that on your calendars and be sure to stay tuned. If you have questions you'd like me to ask him, please feel free to email me at info@thesimplyluxuriouslife.com. Have a beautiful week, and thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for tuning in to the Simple Sophisticate podcast, where intelligent living is paired with signature style. For more ideas and inspiration throughout the week, stop by the blog, thesimplyluxuriouslife.com, or pick up the book, now available on Audible, iTunes, and Amazon, as well as in paperback, Choosing the Simply Luxurious Life, A Modern Woman's Guide. To stay caught up on the most recent episodes of the podcast, blog posts, and to receive exclusive news as well as an extra dose of inspiration to start your weekend, subscribe to the Simply Luxurious Life's weekly newsletter, which arrives in your inbox each Friday morning to enjoy with a hot cup of tea or a hot cup of coffee. Thank you for listening. I'm your host, Shannon Ables. À la prochaine.